Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Walter Magaya is still behind bars. And no, it's not a divine fast, it's a paperwork fast. His bail was granted, yes, but the prison gates refused to swing open because someone, somewhere, conveniently forgot to sign the papers. Now, his lawyers are back in court, hoping the signatures fall from heaven, or at least from the Justice Ministry. But whispers from inside state security say the delay is no accident. Even if Maggaya walks out, the plan is to slap him right back in chains the moment his shoes touch the pavement, unless, of course, someone with serious political oxygen intervenes. So, the prophet waits, and the prison walls echo with unanswered prayers. Meanwhile, Nelson Chamisa has broken his silence with a phrase that's shaking corridors. Mugabe was bad. This is worse. His outrage follows the shocking abduction and torture of two Chinoi University of Technology students, Malvin Saint Madanda and Lyndon Zanga. The duo were kidnapped in what has become Zimbabwe's unofficial national sport, enforced disappearances. They were bundled into an unmarked grey Isuzu, yes, the favorite car of cowards, tortured for 12 hours and dumped in Shamva, looking like they had gone 12 rounds with Lucifer himself. Their crime? Daring to campaign under ZINASU instead of the ruling party's student front, ZINASU. Chamisa likened the ordeal to Mugabe-era atrocities, except, as he says, his new administration seems to have taken evil to postgraduate level. Amnesty International has joined the chorus, calling it barbaric, illegal, and proof that students in Zimbabwe study politics with blood and fear instead of books and freedom. And speaking of blunders, President Emerson Mnangagwa has set up a tribunal to probe Justice Never Katiyo, the judge who managed to write a ruling for a case that never happened. Yes, a fictitious judgment complete with imaginary lawyers, including Chimombe Mpofu, who woke up one morning to find himself part of a case he had never heard of. When Katiyo realized his fantasy ruling had gone viral, he rescinded it himself, citing an error. But the errors kept coming like reruns on ZBC. Another case, another blunder, another procedural circus. So now, the Judicial Service Commission wants him out. The president wants answers. And the nation wonders how many other imaginary trials have filled our law books while real justice remains missing. Probably last seen hitchhiking with the rule of law somewhere along Rotten Row. If you watch the program Behind Bars with Auntie Tilda, you will feel sorry for a lot of people that are in jail or in prisons for crimes they did not commit. And issues like this come from judges like Katiyo. We hope he will get the justice he deserves, unlike those he sent to prison with fictitious judgments. Back in Harare, the city of Harare says it has released a budget for the people. And by the people, they clearly mean connected cronies. Residents woke up to find their water tariffs shooting up by 188%, and the math doesn't lie. It's not about clean water, it's about cleaning pockets. The deal trails back to Helcraw, a company owned by ZANU-PF lawmaker Farajere, who miraculously landed a $138 million water contract without public tender. Now, Minister Daniel Garwe is telling residents to scrutinize the budget as if their scrutiny will suddenly make the pipes flow. Residents are calling it daylight robbery disguised as development. We are paying for the water that we don't receive, one resident said. This is not about a budget, it's a ransom note, and the ransom, it seems, is payable to the same people who turned the capital steps into ornaments. Ladies and gentlemen, last year in Harare there was a commission that was sent to clean up the city. They interrogated the mayor. The mayor was found to be involved in a lot of corrupt deals, corrupt activities. Today, the mayor is still the mayor of Harare. He has not been punished, he has not been removed. However, since that commission, we have seen an increase of ZANU-PF cronies getting tenders, meaningless tenders, from the city of Harare. Looks like the commission really acted as a blackmail platform, at least from where we stand. But anyway, while the Harare citizens are drowning in bills, Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has touched down in Zimbabwe again. This time, he's said to be exploring $1 billion investment in cement, mining, and power generation. The same promise he made in 2015 and again in 2018. We are starting to think Zimbabwe is Dangote's favorite sightseeing destination. Great for photo ops, not so great for follow-through. The government insists this time is different, claiming ease of doing business reforms have made the environment more attractive. Yes, attractive enough for the same investors who can't repatriate profits, who wait months for licenses, and who risk a sudden policy change every election cycle. But hey, maybe third time is the charm. Or maybe it is another PRR marriage on the road to Vision 2030. Meanwhile, the National Prosecuting Authority has quietly dropped its bid to seize properties belonging to jailed tenderpreneurs Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, the dynamic duo of Black Deck fame. The NPA says it will proceed with pre-sentencing, which in Zimbabwean legal language means let's see who calls who before we decide how this ends. Their fraud conviction for $7 million is still standing, but the selective pursuit of justice has everyone wondering if prisons are becoming revolving doors for the well-connected. It's a fascinating system, one where the poor rot in remand, the clergy pray for the signatures, and the politically blessed wait for presidential forgiveness wrapped in national silence. South of the Limpopo, South Africa's unemployment rate has finally dipped slightly. Construction, social services, and trade added jobs. Though economists warn it's mostly temporary relief. Still, for a country battered by power cuts and corruption, a job gain is a job gain, even if half of it is informal and powered by generator fumes. But it's more than Zimbabwe can boast, where employment gains mean 3 new ZANU-PF youth officers and 1 new ghost company. Across the Mediterranean, UEFA is under pressure to ban Israel from football over alleged rights abuses against Palestinians. More than 70 athletes, including Pogba and Hakim Ziyech, signed an open letter calling Israel's actions genocidal and comparing it to apartheid South Africa, a comparison that cuts deep in global sport. UEFA says it's reviewing the matter, which in European bureaucracy means we'll talk about it until the next tournament. Meanwhile, Palestinians continue to suffer, and the pitch remains one of the last battlefields where justice is merely discussed, not played. And finally, English football's drama continues off the field. Premier League referees are defending their decision to disallow Virgil van Dijk's goal against Manchester City. According to officials, Andrew Robertson ducked under the ball and distracted the goalkeeper. Translation: football now penalizes ducking. The video-assisted refereeing confirmed the call wasn't clearly and obviously wrong. Words that might as well describe half of Africa's election results. Ladies and gentlemen, from prophets trapped by signatures to judges haunted by imaginary trials, from students tortured for freedom to billionaires promising redemption, Zimbabwe's script writes itself daily. The nation waits, hopes, jokes, and survives because that's what Zimbabweans do best. This is Zimwaves TV, where the headlines sting, the sarcasm heals, and the truth always finds a microphone. Don't just watch, subscribe, because in this circus called Zimbabwe, the next act is always wilder than the last.